how my brain works. Utterly obsessed or uninterested. No middle ground. But we keep doing it because I think we all literally try to balance a light switch. So it's like in the middle and not on or off. But just as it doesn't really work with an actual light switch, I don't know why we keep trying to do this with our brain, because it doesn't work either. But I'm still guilty of this. I still like try to balance the light switch that is my brain. Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. Today it's time for some neurodivergent memes again, because I still have many of them saved on my phone. This first one was also from the end of 23, I think, so they've been on my phone for a while. So that's what we're doing today. But you know the deal, before we continue, y'all gotta get hydrated. So grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue. In the meantime, also feel free to like and subscribe. You got your drink? Okay, let's go. That autism problem, TM. When someone uses your glass, your plate, your spoon, your freaking everything, and then you ask them to stop using it because it's yours, but they don't want to, so you insist and they get mad at you because you're being neurotic. Because remembering that you just take a random other spoon that isn't this one specific spoon or other glasses is apparently too much to ask. Like, to these people, it's obviously literally just a glass or just a spoon. So why do they get so mad about it? Like, they obviously don't care which one they use. So why do they get so mad about it? Because, like, just because you don't understand why it's so important to someone, does that mean you need to be that pressed about it? Because apparently it does. Apparently it does. I'm just glad that my family was never really like this, because we all had like specific glasses or cups that were kind of assigned to a person, really. They weren't really, like, it didn't say the name on it or anything. But everyone knew that those are your cups or your glasses, because my family are all very neurotypical. You know, so I didn't have that problem with my family, at least. We should start an ADHD cleaning service where people with ADHD clean each other's houses instead of cleaning their own. This would literally work. It would be so smart. It'd be like a dating app where you just like sign on and you can like keep changing it in your settings. Obviously, you can just like say, oh, right now my kitchen really needs to be deep cleaned, and just like write what needs to be done in your kitchen or something, and then see who in your area you can match with. It would literally be so much cooler than a dating app. Maybe that's just me because I don't want to date, but this would be so useful, right? Like, literally, this would be a brilliant app. You can't prove me wrong, because you can just like keep chatting it, and then like if you like have someone in your area, like you can also just like, once you're matched with them, you can just like hit each other up and be like, hey, is it cleaning due in your house too? Like, let's do it on Saturday. Like, do you have time, right? And then just switch. It'd be so cool. It literally would just be so cool. No one texts me. Sad. More than one person texts me. Overwhelmed. But why is this already me when one person texts me? Like, especially if I'm like trying to focus on something, and then someone texts me, I instantly get mad. Even if it's like one of my best friends, and I usually love chatting with this person, and I'm actually kind of excited that they're texting. Or I would be, but not in that moment. In that moment, I'm just stressed, especially if there's someone who like double texts and triple texts. I kind of love when people do that, because it kind of just shows that they care and just like shows they're excited about something, and then they just like send 5 messages about one topic, and it's really cute and really sweet, and I love it. But not when I'm already stressed, which to be fair is also quite a lot, because in that first moment when my phone keeps like lighting up or vibrating, it will just stress me more. Why? That's literally one of the things about my brain that I really don't like, because it's like, why are you mad your friend is texting you? It's such a scam. It's the same with like, oh, I know I'm gonna have fun hanging out with my friend, but I don't want to go and I'm stressed about it, even though I know I'll enjoy it. Also such a scam. Brain, these are friends. Be annoyed if a random coworker texts you. Be annoyed if a group chat like spams because it's like work colleagues who are just talking about a random thing you're not interested in. Then get mad at that. But why? Friends aren't bad. What are you doing, brain? Me. Babies are so silly. They don't understand peekaboo because their lack of object permanence. So funny. Also me with ADHD who just put his energy drink behind his laptop. Where the frick did my energy drink go? Listen, it's funny with babies though. Like, it's also kind of funny if you live in a household with another ADHD person and this happens to the other ADHD person. That's fine. That's funny. Sometimes it's funny when it happens to yourself. But usually in that moment you're just annoyed because you really wanted that energy drink, but then you can't find it anymore because you put it behind your laptop. You put it down somewhere for 2 seconds and your brain already deleted the information because wasn't important enough, I guess. Even though it is, because I want to finish this energy drink, right? Or it's worse with like hot drinks, because then they're just like cold by the time you find them. Important information, brain, why are you deleting it? Wait, it is a neurodivergent thing to bring fidget toys stimulation for yourself and also anyone else? Like, I'm going camping and I packed like 3 infinity cubes because I was like, well, there are other people. If they want a fidget, they can borrow fidget because people always think that infinity cubes are cool. I will get a good grade in social interaction. I think that's literally it though. That it's kind of, it seems like an easy way to get social points. Not really that, but it's just like knowing that you kind of struggle in social interactions maybe, and that maybe people don't get you, and that people like historically or in school made fun of you for being weird in social interactions, but then you have something to talk about and have a reason to talk to this other person really, because they talk about the infinity cubes or they ask about them, and then you can just be like, oh no, I really like playing around with it, like it helps me focus on the conversation or whatever, and then be like, hey, I have a second one if you want to borrow it for now. Listen, I get it. I really, really get it. At what age do we get good at small talk? It's not 43. Okay, I know I'm not beating the autism allegations, but I learned small talk at the age of 30, when I pretended conversations were video games, and I'd gain a point every time I asked a question, and I lost a point every time I talked about myself, and it worked. It is generally a thing that gamifying things that are hard for you helps. That it actually tricks your brain into enjoying the thing, at least sort of enjoying the thing and being able to do the thing. So honestly, it kind of makes sense to think about that, to just be like, oh, I go into this conversation with whatever, 5 points. I can talk a little about myself, right, whatever, but then I gotta ask a question to get my points back up because I talked about myself. Literally, unless you're so focused on like counting points that you don't listen to the conversation anymore, like if it doesn't get to that, this would probably be a really helpful tip. And no, you're really, really not beating the autism allegations right now. Do you have a diagnosis by now? Because this picture is also from November 23. Do you have a diagnosis by now? Because I feel like this person definitely does. It took me a while to learn that small talk is often just saying obvious things and asking questions you already know the answer to. Sure is hot today, for example. It's not about trading information, it's about creating agreement. Oh my god, maybe this is why I found it so intolerably boring? Oh my god. Yeah, did I literally forget that I had a second picture? Yes, I don't even know if these came together, but it's both small talk, so it kind of fits. But it makes sense if you put it like this. Like, I kind of understand why people do it, but I also really don't. Like, I know they're doing it to feel like they have like a kind of agreeable environment and that they're all friendly. But the thing is, that'd be great if that would actually work, and if these people would like actually then feel closer to each other and generally be nice to each other and about each other. But I've talked about this in my previous video. As soon as one of these people leaves the room, the other people there are gonna shit talk them. And like, why are you trying to create agreement with someone who you don't even like? I don't really get it, actually. Yeah, anyway, so because of my autism/ADHD neurotypicals. No, not because of. You're human despite your autism. Stop confining yourself to your label. Your imperfections don't have to be your identity. Every goddamn time. Like, dude, I am aware that I'm human, and autism and ADHD aren't imperfect. That's literally it, though. That's literally... You're not making a very good point. Because every time someone says this, it just sounds condescending and also incredibly ableist. To be like, oh, well, you have imperfections, but it doesn't define you. Like, calling someone imperfect because they don't have a neurotypical brain, kind of ableist, you know? So maybe just don't say things like these, you know? With ADHD, autism, it's funny, like, people will call you weird all your life. People will bully you for your outlandish behavior. People will criticize literally anything you do as not normal. But the second you get diagnosed or suggest you might have it, they're like, huh, what? But you're so normal. You're literally the most normal person I've ever seen. You're literally so normal and absolutely nothing is wrong with you. Why would you have that now all of a sudden? I think what this boils down to is they're upset that you're no longer weird in a way that is socially acceptable to bully, and now they have to feel remorse, God forbid. Because it turns out you weren't just eccentric or melodramatic, you were disabled. That actually, I never thought about it like that. I just thought people are kind of weird that way, to just be like, oh no, I'm sure it's nothing, I'm sure you're just like reading into it, because they do that about anything really that they don't deem normal, right? They tell people who are depressed they're overreacting. They tell someone with like headaches that they're overreacting, probably. You know, like all sorts of things. Just kind of like their go-to thing, just being like, oh no, I'm sure you're reading too much into it. Like, you just need to keep your thoughts more positive. I'm sure it'll go away. That kind of thing. I didn't think about the fact that then they have to confront their own ableism, but that actually just makes a lot of sense. It helps if you imagine ADHD as a tiny little elf in your head who's trying so hard to be helpful, but is in fact quite drunk. Does it? Does it? Like, sometimes things that just seem completely ridiculous, like this, actually help. But the things a lot of us already like view our brain as a separate entity, so viewing it as a tiny little drunk elf who wants to help but is actually really, really out of it might actually work, you know, to kind of like talk your own brain into doing things. Because Tiny, I was like, no, you can't do that. But you're just like kind of slightly poking fun at them, but also like trying to take care of them. Because like you can't just abandon the drunk person, you gotta kind of like take care of them and like make sure they get home safe and everything. It might work really well. Anxiety, everything is important. Depression, nothing is important. ADHD, I have no idea what's important. And then having all three and just being confused. Like ADHD, are they just like, well, everything feels important, but everything also doesn't feel important, and nothing is important right now. So what even is important? It's already a struggle, but then if you have anxiety and depression, it's gotta be interesting in your brain. I'll give you that, but the thing is, it's probably only interesting if you're in it for a short while, because if your brain is constantly like this about everything, it's probably gonna get exhausting real quick. My mind is like someone emptied the kitchen junk drawer onto a trampoline, and then held a massage gun to it, and just had all the things flying around, and hitting each other, and then someone asks you what you're thinking, and you just gesture wildly at the trampoline, just like, are you sure you want to open that box? Are you sure you want to get into that? Because I can throw you on the trampoline with all the things flying around, see how much fun that is for you. I'm trying to imagine what it'd take for me to yell at a server. Like, if I ordered an omelet and they brought me a bowl of rats, but I'd probably still just be like, I'm so sorry, you seem to have brought me someone else's bowl of rats. I'm so sorry, this isn't what I ordered, but it's no problem. Like, if it's too much stress, I'll just eat it. It's fine, you know? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Same with like yelling at people over the phone. Of like, because these customers, like if you work in customer service, you know, these people would be like, I know it's not your fault, but still continue to like yell at you or be really mad. And then often they're like, well, I'm not really mad at you. Like, I know it's not your fault, but ma'am, I know you need to vent, but how is this getting us to a solution? You know, and they just like try to calm them down, and I'm not the best at it, to be honest. Like I can't take people serious that yell at me. Like, I don't know why that's the thing. I've never been able to take people seriously when they yell at me. Like, I can't, because I can't imagine what it would take for me to be that mad that I would yell at someone, because I get angry a lot. But I still wouldn't yell at people. So I really, maybe that's why I really can't take it serious, because I'm like, it's really not that deep. Like, I get that you're angry and I get that you're frustrated, but is that really a good enough reason to yell? Because for me, in my head, it never is. Only psychopaths buy a sticker and immediately put it somewhere. No, you have to think about all the places you could stick it, get overwhelmed, and then put it in a drawer for 3 years. Alternatively, put them in your wallet or in your bag so that if you see like a racist sticker or something, you can cover that sticker with like a cute frog holding a rainbow or something. Or something about your special interest, and put like random sharks somewhere. You know? Like, it's not vandalism if you stay on the other sticker, because the sticker was already there. So as long as you only stick it over the sticker, it's not technically vandalism, right? My doctor and therapist. Now, with this autism and ADHD diagnosis, you need to learn to unmask, because masking all the time will make you burn out again and feel like shit. Other people. Well, it's just interesting how after getting the diagnoses, you suddenly start behaving like that. I mean, I'm not saying you're faking it. It's just funny how you suddenly cannot be normal like you were before. I really can't stand it when people talk about things they don't know anything about. Like, I can almost get that. Like, if you were really heavily masking before, especially like, or even like around your family or at work or someone, and then you just like start unmasking because you burn out, you already don't have the energy to do it, and then you just start unmasking, and then people keep telling you that you're either suddenly acting weird, or they constantly ask you what's wrong because your face isn't facing anymore. Like, I literally had to listen to coworkers this week tell me that I've looked happier before. Did not know how to tell her that I'm just too burned out to mask, and that I feel pretty okay considering, you know, I was at work, I was in the office, I'm never that happy in the office, so what are you even talking about? It's way too loud for me to be here. And I'm already, like, this close to burnout, so noises are even worse. Like, ma'am, what are you talking about? You know, so, but to her, like, I didn't want to deal with that conversation, so I was just like, oh yeah, no, I have, like, really bad headaches again, you know, which wasn't technically a lie, but it also really wasn't the truth. You know, but why do these people not think? Like, if you don't know anything about autism, which apparently you don't, because then you would know about masking and would maybe consider being like, wait, did you always want to like act like this? Like, did you always want to fidget with something all the time to stim or whatever? Or were you just masking so you'd be like able to tolerate social interactions, really, or kind of passive? Like, what? These people, like, they Google for 10 minutes and then think they know so much about autism, and it's frustrating, to say the least. What an autistic person says. How long is it going to take? what they mean. I want to know whether to activate my short-term waiting mode where I just wait and do nothing else, or activate my long-term waiting mode where I occupy my mind with something else. I fully understand that both are possibilities and I have no problem whatsoever with either one, but I want more information so I can adapt best to the situation. What neurotypical people here? I am impatient and demand that everything I want happens right now. Please scold me and publicly humiliate me for it. Yeah, literally, like asking for clarification is so often just seen as impatient or condescending or arrogant. Just be like, well, you think your time is so much more important than anyone else's, when you don't. But this person probably has like sort of a time plan in the head of how long it's going to take. Like when they're just like, oh, let me finish this real quick, we'll leave after. How much is this will finish very quickly? Like, is it 5 minutes? Is it half an hour? Like, how long? And you asking for clarification suddenly means you're just trying to stress them when you're not. You just want to know if it's worth it to like maybe start getting dressed slowly, or if you just like sit down and chill for half an hour. Like, you just want to know. But these sometimes these people just don't really get it. And you can try to phrase it in really nice ways, but if this person doesn't really know anything about autism, again, they're probably just gonna react a little bit weirdly. Me, struggling to hold it together in a system that views me as worthless. The middle-class neurotypical white guy telling me about mindset and positive thinking. I hate this so much, and I also hate that I sometimes sound like this, because yeah, the more you focus on the negative, the more your brain will automatically see things as negative. And the more you try to focus on the positive side, the more your brain develops in that direction, and it's going to be easier to like see the positivity in things. It's not entirely wrong. But that doesn't mean that there aren't systems in place that just make it a whole lot more difficult to live if you're disabled, or if you're a person of color, or if you're a woman. Even, like, it doesn't even matter. You can be a cis woman and still struggle with it, you know? Like, it seems difficult to just say, oh yeah, you just need to focus on the positive because it can't hurt. But it's also not the solution to everything. So, yeah, I like saying focus on the positive, but it doesn't mean it's gonna fix everything. When the brain fog hits mid-sentence and suddenly you've never had a thought in your life. It's like, I know I was thinking something before, but where did it go? It's a little bit like losing a puppy. Like at my old company, we had this coworker who sometimes brought his dog to work. But this dog, she was really cute, but she liked wandering and then always like got lost somewhere on the grounds because she was just like walking around greeting different people, right? So it's a little bit like that. Like I literally came to work and he was outside. I mean, like, hey, if you see my dog, well, you know she's mine, please bring her back. And it's funny, but imagine that with your thoughts. And instead of losing one dog or one puppy, there's a lot of them. And sometimes you catch a glimpse of them, but you can't quite grab them. So you just almost remember. That's kind of what it's like sometimes. Do you ever zone out in a conversation and use the wrong canned response? That's so crazy. I know. I know you're lying if you say you haven't done this. Because I do this a lot, like especially if someone talks slowly, it just becomes so much harder instantly to focus. And it's already a little awkward in like normal conversations, but if it's in a work meeting and you're just zoning out because this person has been talking for like 5 minutes and they're talking so slowly and your brain just went somewhere after like 2 seconds because you know it's gonna take a while. Like you know this person, you know it's gonna run on forever. And then suddenly you hear your name. The amount of panic I felt in that moment was a little too real. Like I was instantly like focused again. And I'm just really glad that the conversation was steered in a different direction and he didn't get to finish that sentence or actually draw me into it, so I had to say something because I had no idea what he was talking about, really. Because, well, I hadn't been listening for like 5 to 10 minutes. You know, yeah. I would have had a problem in that moment, because in that moment you can't use just a canned response of, oh, I know, or, oh, right? In that moment, you're just truly screwed. If you don't get lucky like me and have the conversations be turned away from that. Anyways, that was all the memes for today. We are still in late 24. So I will definitely have to do a neurodivergent memes video again soon, because otherwise the memes are just gonna keep building up. But I have no problem with that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed these memes, and I hope you're hydrated. If not, maybe consider drinking something now, and I'll be back in a few days with my next video.